What's up, y'all? You're listening to the Extra Point College Football Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Karnes, joined as always by my co-host, Daniel Hammock. Daniel, we have made it to week 12. We've got real games. We've got coaching searches. We've got playoff rankings. There's only a few games left. And here's the crazy part, Daniel, is I heard this stat from, I think it was either Josh Pate or Rusty Mansell. Hartina, get them confused. One has
Very
a lot
similar.
of hair, one does not.
Yep.
Very similar. For the two teams that will play for the national championship, as of today, it has been 71 days since the first Saturday of the college football season, and there are 70 days until national championship Monday night. So we are only halfway through, as far as calendar days, only halfway through the season for two teams. So long way to go. A lot of football left, a lot of important football left. Daniel, how you doing?
Fired up. All right. I am clinging to every Saturday as it comes.
Yes.
And I am trying to watch every window of game, and I'm just cherishing it, dude. There's games where I'm like, if this happened in May, I would kill for this game right now. So I am going to watch this game. And if I miss part of it, I'm going to watch the highlights and get the full story. And dude, that's what it's all about.
On deck, we've got our updated college football playoff projections. We are projecting how we think the rest of the season will go, who we think will be in the final college football playoff, not who we think would be in today. We'll do that at the top of the show. Two questions we've got after this past weekend. We'll go through our XPR, compare it to the college football playoff committee and what they had Tuesday night. 3 games we're watching, 3 uniform matchups to watch. We'll end with our 4 picks against the spread. We've got Pitt, Notre Dame, Alabama, Oklahoma, USC, Iowa, Georgia, Texas on deck. Daniel, let's get us started. I want to hear your updated college football playoff projection. I have one spot left that I need your help deciding. It's going to be a fun scenario, but I want you to start. Give me your 1 through 12 in order. Do you have records too, or you just kind of see them?
I mean, I can give you the losses off the top of my head pretty easily.
Either way, but seeding
for the reasoning
in order.
Yeah. For the seeding purposes, that's what I did. Perfect. All right, I'll roll through them. Number 1, I have Ohio State. I think they're going to end the season undefeated. I think they're going to go through, even though we're going to pick Michigan against them. We're on record. Michigan will beat Ohio State. My projection is that they will beat them as of right now because we're not on that week. So they're undefeated, then they win the Big Ten. So undefeated Ohio State. Number 2, I have Alabama. I think they run the rest of the table and win the SEC championship game. Number 3, I have Indiana, who runs the rest of the table, loses the Big Ten championship game. So just the one loss, 12-1. Texas A&M, I have them at 12-1 as well. So they go 12 in a regular season and then lose to Alabama as the 4 seed. Then I have Georgia, 11-1, rounding out the rest of the year. I have Texas Tech. I have them winning out. Oregon, they have to win out for them to be where I have them at 7. Ole Miss, of course, they have to win out. Notre Dame, they've had to win out since week 2.
That's right.
Vanderbilt, this is kind of my biggest.
Okay.
I have them beating Tennessee.
There it is.
They have to be 10-2 to go, so they have to win out.
They got to win out.
I think that win against Auburn was really big, kind of having to come from behind, getting Auburn's best shot offensively this year. I think this is the best offensive game Auburn's played all year. Vanderbilt had to come back. So that's my 10 seed. If you're doing the math, that leaves an ACC champion and group of 6 champ. So at 11, Pittsburgh, ACC champ. Things have changed. Florida State's out of it for me. They're out. At this point, I think Florida State's out.
Are we sure?
So put me down. I'm off FSU for this season. Okay. For right now. I don't see a path for Florida State. So they're out, unfortunately. And then Tulane, they're back.
Okay.
In the sense that I was looking, I think that they've got 2 losses. That's a bummer. So it's not going to look as great. But the good news for them
went out and you're in.
Win out, win the championship. They're in. They've got a path. I just think that John Summerall, quarterback, Retzlaff, all those guys, I think that they are primed for it, I guess, in the best way. But yeah, that's me.
I'm putting you on the spot here. You don't have to go through every matchup. If you had to pick your national champion today, who are you picking?
Jake.
I know I didn't ask you this pre-show.
Yeah.
I'm putting you on the spot. You want to think about it while I go through my bracket?
Yeah, I'll think about it. I'll think about it.
All right. Daniel, at the 1 seed, I've got Indiana at 13-0. All right. 2 seed.
Wow.
Alabama, 12-1 SEC champs. Here's where you can start to see some picks towards the end of the year here. 3 seed, I've got Georgia at 11-2.
Okay.
Losing the SEC runner-up at the 3 seed.
Okay.
4 seed.
Yeah.
I've got Big Ten runner-up Oregon at 11-2. Losing to Indiana twice. 5 seed, Texas Tech, 12-1, Big 12 champs. 6 seed, 11-1, Ohio State. Because, Daniel, I'm a man of principle. I said I'm picking Michigan.
Wow.
And if Ohio State loses to Michigan, they will miss out on the Big Ten championship. And not only that, if Michigan wins their games before Ohio State, which is, I need to look, they should win both their games. Michigan will actually finish ahead of them in the Big Ten standings. Believe it or not.
That's amazing.
Wow is correct.
7, so glad Texas we did A&M. This.
Yes. 7, Texas A&M, 11-1.
Okay.
8, Ole Miss at 11-1.
Okay.
So I think A&M loses one more game this season. Ole Miss wins out. All right. 9. Here's where I need some help, Daniel. I've got 2 spots here at 9 and 10 for 3 teams. All right. Based on the committees, what they've currently done, I've got 9, Notre Dame, 10-2. I've got 1 spot left, 2 teams. And I'm really, really curious. All right. A 9-3 Texas that beats Texas A&M to end the undefeated season. So that would be a 9-3 Texas with, look, a loss on the road against probably not a bowl team in Florida. A 1-score loss on the road at Ohio State. A win over A&M. And we'll talk later about the Georgia game. We'll just for this scenario, they beat A&M. Or they go 1-1, regardless. You know what I mean? Like, they go 1-1. They're 9-3. All right. 9-3 Texas. Or a 10-2 Michigan. That's
with a win over Ohio State.
With a win over Ohio State. So the head-to-head, here's the thing. They'd have 2 head-to-head opponents. Michigan will have beaten Ohio State at home. Texas will have lost to Ohio State on the road. Texas will have beaten Oklahoma on a neutral. Michigan will have lost to Oklahoma on the road. So 1-1. And here's the thing. I think the committee, recency matters because they're humans, and to be honest, they're not that great at this. Right now, Daniel, I have 9-3 Texas over 10-2 Michigan. Now, I think that 9 wins is more impressive than Michigan's 10. So 10 seed Texas, 11 seed I've got Louisville out of the ACC.
I like it.
12 seed USF at 11-2. Right now, I'd pick Ohio State to win it all. I'd pick to win it all. They've looked like the best team so far. They've looked like the most complete team right now. And I know they have the depth and talent to go win 4 of these games. And there's only a few teams on here that I still think. I mean, look, I'm having to come around on Indiana because, you know, my logical brain in watching what they're doing does not make sense. But hey, credit to me. I'm putting them up here. I'm picking them to finish undefeated. I'm picking them to win the Big Ten. If they're facing Oregon again, I'm picking Indiana again. I saw what they did on the road. So it's just, I have a hard time still believing that team can go win 3 games in the playoff against these other top teams.
Mm-hmm.
So give me Ohio State right now. Yeah, they've looked like the best team this year. What about you?
Man, it's tough. It's tough because I think Ohio State is probably the clearest answer, like for the reasons you've given. Also, if you look at just recent champions, you know, defense is extremely important, and Ohio State's had the best defense. Now, of course, adjusted for opponent, all of that kind of stuff, because there's been several games where they are, you know, markedly like a huge favorite. So, but they've beaten them handily. So you can only play who you play. It's so tough. I'm trying to think of who could go on the run. I think, okay, I'll give you a few teams that I think could go on the run to win the championship. I think Ohio State, of course. I think Alabama could. I think Georgia could. I don't think Indiana could run the gamut.
I need to see it. You know,
I'm becoming more of a believer on A&M making the run than I was. I think like 3 weeks ago, I'm like not even, you know, but now I'm kind of thinking A&M may be a little bit different than what we've expected. They've had a favorable schedule for a certain, you know, amount of the year, but I'm trying to see if there's another team. I don't think Oregon could do it this year. I have a sneaky suspicion Texas Tech could do more than what we think. I have a little bit more faith in them, kind of doing a couple of things. Man, usual customers though, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think Alabama could do this year. Right at this point, I could see Alabama doing it, and then forcing Nick Saban to come take the LSU job because he just can't stand to see someone else win a national championship after he did.
That's great. Okay, you got Bama. I almost picked Bama. I'm just going with my eyes here.
It's
Picking
tough.
Ohio State for now.
It's tough.
That's where I'm going. Okay, Daniel, we've had a week of football this past weekend. 2 questions you've got moving forward. What's your first question?
My first question is, it's about like Big Ten versus the SEC in the playoff. So will the Big Ten get 4 teams in the college football playoff, or is it more likely 6? Like, is it more likely that 6 SEC teams get in or 4 Big Ten teams? Because I think that line is kind of where, you think about, USC or Michigan potentially sneaking in if they can backdoor it, and Oregon not falling apart, concerns at different parts there. And then just the toughness of getting a 6th team in for the SEC. I think 5 is still kind of tough, but I think that they're right there at 5 based on, pretty resumes and not having 3 losses. But you start getting to like your question before about potentially Texas being 9-3 and being in as an at-large team. Like, is there enough love from the committee for the SEC? I know that people will scream SEC bias from the rooftops, but like, I don't know, man. They get so bogged down about losses, and these teams have played different schedules. So I don't know. 4 Big Ten teams versus 6 SEC teams, because I think that's how the math kind of works out when you've got Notre Dame, group of 6, and then Big 12 ACC are both one bid league.
Yeah, I'm curious to see that too. In mine, I've got more SEC than Big Ten, but I could have it equal if I put Michigan in as of right now. I'll stay with the playoff. Daniel, I'm mad because this got mentioned. I heard it got mentioned on the playoff show. I know Pate mentioned it. I wrote down a scenario on Monday, and I was like, this can be great. Only I've thought about this. now I've seen it been talked about. Is there a chance the ACC does not get a team in the playoff? And the answer is yes. There is a chance the ACC does not get a team in the playoff because right now, Duke only has 1 loss in conference and controls their own destiny in the ACC. This does not take a lot to happen. Duke just needs to win the ACC.
Wait,
that's not crazy.
They could actually not make the playoff? I thought that there were auto bids.
Yes, there are auto bids. There are 5. Walk with me. There's 5 auto bids, all right, for the 5 highest ranked conference champs. All right. Duke has 4 losses. Only 1 of those are in conference. All right. They control their own destiny in the ACC.
I get the Duke.
All that has to happen for this to do it is Duke wins the ACC. You have the American champ, which is currently ranked or could be ranked higher than Duke. Or I mean, currently they are. There's a team ranked higher than Duke right now in the CFP rankings.
Right.
James Madison has 1 loss. So if James Madison wins the Sun Belt and is 12-1 and they're sitting there at 24, and USF for Tulane sitting there at 19, and Duke is unranked. Now you have the 5 highest ranked conference champs, one of those not being the ACC champ. To me, that's not, especially at this point in the season, Daniel, this is crazy. Not some out there wild 16 things need to happen.
Right.
It's really like 3. So again, this is where I laugh at, everyone's mocked the Big Ten proposal saying, no more auto bids. It's bad for the sport. Why does the Big Ten and SEC need 4 guaranteed teams? Look, I'm a fan of a team in the Power 4. I'm a fan of a team in the SEC and Big Ten. I'm saying no auto bids because I think I just want the best teams in.
Right.
But I think auto bids are better for these small conferences because guess what? ACC gets 2 teams in that scenario. There's a chance this year, Daniel, with a 12-team playoff, the ACC gets 0, which is nuts. So
that is so crazy.
It's not crazy. It's not crazy. That's my first question.
It's not crazy. That is pretty crazy. I mean, it's crazy that it's not crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy that this is a possibility.
What needs to happen is not crazy for this to happen. Yes, it would be insane if the ACC got left out of a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, because I thought someone was trolling. Well, I was listening to something. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember what I was listening to. I consume so much college football content. And they had made a comment about Georgia Tech, and you're a noted Georgia Tech hater, of course, Jacob. And so they had said, yeah, I think, if Georgia Tech loses to Georgia, but then wins the ACC championship, I think they're in the playoff. And I was like, that's the boldest take I've ever heard. There's an automatic bid. So that being said, your scenario is basically lining out like, hey, it has to be like a specific team. Georgia Tech's been ranked high enough where a loss to Georgia would not even be in the realm of them being lower ranked than the two group of 6 conferences. So, but that's really funny because the other day I was like, are they trolling them? Why is this even a conversation? Does this person not know ball? But apparently I may have not known ball myself. I'm looking myself in the mirror right now. So
I think questioning whether or not Georgia Tech would get in if they win the conference is a little stupid. They're in.
Yeah.
They're ranked high enough. Yeah. They would only have 2 losses. Okay, Daniel, what's your second question?
So in that same vein, we're talking about group of 6 a little bit. Group of 6 playoff contenders. Josh Pate brought this up a couple years ago, and it stuck with me. And then playoff expanded, conferences expanded, reorganized, and realignment, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know Bussin' with the Boys made a NIT bracket for the playoff, which I still think is stupid. Like, let's just have bowl games. But I do understand from a group of 6 perspective, like, dude, I'm a Kennesaw State grad. I'd love to see them have a shot at doing something. I mean, I'm pumped for a potential bowl game. Trust me. Well, they've qualified for a bowl game, but I mean, FCS, they had a chance to go win a national championship. They get here and there's 2 different sports happening for the most part between, the who's and the have-nots. And I just wonder, with this next expansion of the playoff and update of, what the auto bids versus, at-large teams, would it just be better at that point to also go ahead and create a group of 6 playoff? And that way they can just have, G6 national champ. I mean, like, make it a thing. And these teams are going to continue to be on schedules of the Power 4, but they're going to be able to have something at the end of the year where it's not just like a invitational invite, to get their teeth kicked in by whoever the 5th ranked seed is in the CFP. They can actually just go and be in a separate category altogether. I think it might help with roster stability, to be honest with you. I think that there would be less teams jumping because they'd have the opportunity to win a championship right where they are, get developed, and you might see better football at that level.
Yeah. You and I have been on this for, as long as we've heard about it. Like this, I think it is ignorant to pretend that there are 130 something teams playing the same sport. It's just impossible. There is a major league and a minor league in college football. Even in Division I college football, I think not admitting that's a little silly. And I want group of 6 football and FCS football and all these other things to thrive. I don't know how we do that. Bill Conley has a great book out right now called Forward Progress. He had, it's funny, he had a chapter on football socialism, which was interesting. That to sum it up, if every school gave 10% of their TV revenue deal and put it in a pot and then divided it up evenly among the 130 something teams, basically you could like triple the TV revenue some of these G6 schools get, and you would still get an increase in total revenue from the P4 schools as well, which I thought is interesting because he's just like, look, because conference expansion just killed the group of 6, and the transfer portal being free has killed rosters in the group of 6. So I do think there's changes that need to happen to stabilize those schools. Because to use a slogan that EA Sports had whenever the football game came out, came back last year, is every school is someone's favorite team. Every team is someone's favorite. And I want the sport as a whole to still thrive. And I don't know how you put the genie back in the bottle in some of these areas, but I like where your head's at for a G6 playoff. Daniel, my second question, what other upsets or surprises are on the horizon? It's too easy for us to sit here and say, yep, they went out, they went out, they went out, they went out. they went out. It's November. It's the longest month in college football. Literally this year, there's 5 Saturdays in November, so literally the longest. But also, look, the cream will rise to the top in November. So I think there's way too much. We just did it. There's way too much people sitting around going, okay, so when Ohio State's 13-0 and A&M wins out and Bama wins out and Georgia wins out and Indiana, somebody's getting beat. So I'm excited to see who that is. Who's getting beat? It's college football, man. I've watched way too many seasons of college football to just count up all this chalk, and I'm doing it too. I can't predict it, so I'm excited to watch it happen.
I'm going to put you down for Purdue beating Indiana on November 28th.
Okay, there you go. Just put me down for that one. Maybe I can pick some more strategic upsets there.
Yeah.
Okay, Daniel, our Week 12 XPR, if you were watching on YouTube, which you should, you can see that on screen right now, Daniel. We've got top 5 of Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Oregon, and Alabama. Only one difference there from the College Football Playoff Committee's rankings. Of course, Oregon being at 8 in their rankings, 4 in ours. Daniel, just looking at either our XPR or the College Football Playoff rankings, were there any surprises from the committee's rankings? I had one that I wanted to talk about, which was Miami. But looking at our XPR or the CFP, what you got? Any big takeaways or teams you're keeping an eye on? Any teams we're right about, the committee's wrong about, or vice versa?
Yeah, it's tough because I think, we're both, you mentioned Miami. We're both have Miami as the highest ranked ACC team. But I think that both of us individually are like, I don't think that they have they need so much help to win the conference that it's kind of a moot point. So it's almost like a lame duck spot where they're maybe power rated almost the highest, or they've qualified to be the highest ranked currently. But you look at the map and it's like the only way that they can make the playoff is if they win the ACC, and their path is the least clear on winning the ACC at this point. So that's interesting to me.
Miami, I thought was interesting because, last week, I think they course corrected this week. Miami didn't do anything this past week that was that impressive, but they moved up 3 spots, and some of that was losses other teams had. Miami went from 18 to 15. I thought they were too low last week, so I felt like this week was a course correction because bottom line is they could be looking at, Daniel, at the end of the year, like we talked about, there could be a 10-2 Miami that missed their conference championship game and a 10-2 Notre Dame, who they have 6 spots higher. It was 8 spots higher last week. Miami beat them head-to-head week 1. And look, I'm going to sit here and tell you, I think Notre Dame's a better team right now. I think Notre Dame's a better team overall right now. But, and this is where, head-to-head is not the deciding factor, but I think it is a more than fair argument. And that could be interesting at the end of the year. Again, if Notre Dame's sitting there at a 9 seed in the playoff and Miami's left out completely.
I mean, the committee could have absolutely forgotten that they played, because I forgot until you said that.
That's totally fair.
Phenomenal point that you've just made, because I'm sitting here like, dang, that did happen. No wonder I was so high on Miami earlier. Man.
That's right. Yeah. They beat Notre Dame, and who they beat in week 2? It was back-to-back. It was 2 ranked wins, Daniel.
Florida State was ranked when they beat them.
Were they? I forget. Goodness. Maybe I was thinking of Notre Dame's back-to-back losses. That was
because they lost to A&M.
A&M, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that was the only team I was just like, Oregon, we're higher on Oregon. Power ratings love Oregon. I love Oregon. Resume-wise, I would put them behind Ole Miss, like my personal rankings. I think I had them at 7-ish.
Yeah.
Power ratings love Oregon. And I don't disagree. At one point, you and I both thought Oregon was the best team in the country. They lose to Indiana. I also had A&M at 2. I respect Indiana's win at Penn State. I'm treating it like Georgia's win against Florida. Like some of these other teams that record doesn't show it, but these are 4- and 5-star bodies. Penn State had not given up on the season. I mean, Bama's win over LSU. They got LSU's best effort in that game. So I still think A&M is a more, I don't know. I was going to say, I think a more impressive win. Indiana's win over Oregon. Texas A&M's win against Notre Dame. Both very impressive. I think you can have that top 3 in any order, I think, and I'd be okay with it. But yeah, Oregon, we had a little bit higher. There was one other team I wrote down here. It was Notre Dame, Miami. And group of 6, I was just curious where they were going to be. We've got USF at 25. Committee's got USF at 24. I think that's the right call right now as far as the highest ranked G6 team. Of course, USF has the win against North Texas, lost against Memphis, but Memphis has 2 losses now. USF's only other loss against Miami. They have a Power 4 win against the Florida team with a lot of blue chips. Yeah. Again, they went out and they're in. It's looking like a match with Tulane at the end of the year for that last spot. So it doesn't really matter right now because winner of that game will be sitting there at the end and they will be the highest ranked G6 champ. Okay, Daniel, we're not picking, but 4 games. What are 3 more games we're not picking that you are excited to watch?
Yeah, I've got a few of them. So one of the teams is the one you've mentioned as your ACC champion. So Friday night, Louisville welcomes in Clemson. This was just one of those ugly, sneaky, like 2.5 point line. Clemson's just kind of hiding in tall grass, just ready to pounce, like my Tiger tropes that I'm using here. I think that they're going to, I think Clemson is going to try to ruin somebody's season, and that somebody is Louisville. I do like Louisville. Obviously, we love their coach. We think that, they got a lot going for them. This is the game that kind of has me nervous, which is why I did not have them as my ACC champion. Just kind of watching that one. Another one, ACC, dude. ACC is big this week and every week because they kind of are the biggest wild card of the playoff, I think. And Duke, favorite against Virginia at home, laying 5.5 points. So, the outside world would tell you Virginia's a better team. Duke, like you mentioned earlier, controls their own destiny and could really wreak havoc on this whole world that we know and love of college football. And last one, dude, it's Jacksonville State hate week for me personally. So Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State, they're trying to come up with a rivalry name for this one because, of course, Kennesaw State's only been around for 10 years. So they're trying to make this happen. So I submitted the War of the South, but I don't know if that's going to catch on or not. But nonetheless, these 2 teams hate each other. And Kennesaw State's a 3.5 point favorite. And so that one's going to be good. It's at Jacksonville State. It's actually got flexed to a major network. It's ESPNU, and it's at 8 o'clock at night instead of 4 o'clock, which means that I have to divert my attention away from Georgia, Texas. Just kidding. To watch this game. But I will definitely watch the highlights from this one.
I've got another name suggestion. I just thought of it. You ready?
Let's do it. Yes.
All right. It's a team from Georgia. It's a team from Alabama. The Deep South's youngest rivalry.
I do like that one.
That's good.
I like that. Yeah. That's good.
Deep South's youngest for your rivalry. Consideration.
Yeah, dude,
submit Deep South's youngest rivalry. I think that's good, dude. 11-year-old program for Kennesaw State. I love it.
Yeah. That is good. That is good.
Maybe something with birds, Gamecocks.
Yeah, someone said the bird fight or the bird. I can't remember what it was.
The best of the nests. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying stuff with rhymes here. Anyway, that's good. Okay. Who is your team of the week for week 11?
It was Texas A&M. This is their second time being team of the week this year for me. Huge win. And I just, I think each time they do something like this, it's just more and more impressive. So yeah, give me the Aggies yet again.
Aggies. All right. Uniform matchup of the week for week 11 was Alabama LSU. Saw that coming from a mile away. It's a helmet game. It's elite. It's always good. So it was fun to watch that one. If nothing else, to just admire the uniforms on the field. The 3 uniform matchups for this week, Daniel, we've got Georgia, Texas. I saw what this looked like last year on the field. It looks unbelievable. Texas, which we were laughing at in our group chat, they still release their weekly uniform as if they don't wear just the same 2 uniforms every game.
Uniform reveal, and it's the same uniform. Like,
it's the uniform they've worn since the end of World War II for Texas. But that'll be elite. Michigan State, Penn State. I've always loved the Michigan State aesthetic. I think they do the modern classic well. I like the blending in of some of the number font, the Spartan symbols. I've always liked green, and then you've got the all white with the blue mixed in of Penn State. That'll be really good. Ohio State, UCLA is my third one. 2 elite uniforms. Daniel, I do want to say, though, while we're on the topic of UCLA, I have a gripe about UCLA's uniform. I think I ranked them number 1 in the Big Ten for uniforms heading into this year.
Is it that the sissy blue that they've?
It's not this. I love the sissy blue. It's the face mask. Their face mask is gold that matches the helmet. I think a gray face mask, which they've had at some point in their tenure, is much better. So I don't like a helmet that has the same color helmet and face mask, and especially theirs. I mean, it's still a good uniform, but I think a gray face mask would just make it even better. Face masks do matter. See Auburn football, Navy face mask, far superior to whatever else they tried mixing them up to have different uniforms. Yeah, gray face mask. Another one, Daniel, just to as an honorable mention, or is it Ole Miss and Florida could be good. Mm-hmm. And let's see here. What was the other one? Texas Tech UCF could be good. So excited for those as well. Daniel, fourth quarter, we've got 4 picks against the spread here. High noon, college game day. Is it the biggest game of the day? Of course not, says Pat Narduzzi. Pitt is hosting Notre Dame. Notre Dame, an 11.5-point favorite. If you have not seen it, Pat Narduzzi was asked in a press conference if this was a big game, and he's like, kind of smirks. I'm glad you asked. Of course not. Like, we just need to win our conference. We've got 2 conference games left, but we're prepping for Notre Dame. So not a big game. Notre Dame, an 11.5-point favorite. Daniel, what's your pick here in Pittsburgh?
I'm so glad we're talking about this. Yeah, is this a must-win? Of course not. No. Well, Jacob, why is College Game Day there? Why are we picking it if it's not, this really does, as funny as it is, I'm like, it makes me think, okay, do they not take it serious and get blown the doors off because it's like, are they truly like, we're just going to focus on the ACC and that's all we care about? And which to a certain extent, it's like, is this man a revolutionary? Like he keep the main thing. Like, does he pull his guys at halftime? Or is this the biggest hustle I've ever seen? And they come out there and just kick Notre Dame's teeth in. I think I keep using that, and I probably need to get off of kick the teeth in, but I think I've used that a few weeks in a row now. But do they blow their doors off? Pitt has been a different team since they changed quarterbacks. They have been a stronger team throughout the year. Notre Dame is better. I think that Notre Dame wins this game. I think that it's not going to matter for Pitt based on what their coach said for them. Regardless of that, I think that Notre Dame is the better team, has a better defense. I think that's really what I like about Notre Dame is that I think that they're going to be able to keep this Pitt offense out of the end zone. And really, if Pitt moves the ball, I think they're going to end up kicking a decent amount of field goals, which I think is going to be a big deal. Covering 11.5 points is tough in today's college football with the limited possessions, but I think Notre Dame does it. Give me the Irish. I'm laying 11.5 points. I think it's the right side to be on. Let me just do it. Irish, lay the 11.5. The better team. They win by 2 touchdowns.
Daniel, I'm with you. I think this should be a good matchup as far as Pitt's rush defense have been very good this year. Against the run, Pitt, opponent adjusted, 8th best rush defense in the country. They're 3rd in total rush defense, number 1 team in the country in yards per carry allowed, 18th in explosive runs allowed. But look, this is Notre Dame. They have the 14th best opponent adjusted rush offense in the country. They're 26th in total rush offense, 17th in yards per carry. Of course, with Jeremiah Love, 7th in explosive runs. That should be a good matchup, but I think this is going to get ugly. Pitt can't run the ball and has a bad pass defense. And when Pitt runs the ball, you're talking out of 68 Power 4 teams, 5th in their opponent adjusted rush offense, 104th in total rush offense, 112th in yards per carry going up against this Notre Dame defense. And look, when Notre Dame throws it, they are 26th in total pass offense, 2nd in yards per attempt, a very explosive pass offense. Pitt's 97th in pass defense, 60th in yards per attempt allowed. Look, Narduzzi said this is not a must-win. I think they get the doors blown off of them by Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame runs away and hides. Pitt also plays fast. They're one of the fastest teams in the country, partly because they don't run the ball well. That means more Notre Dame possessions. That's how I read that, Daniel, which means more Notre Dame points. 11.5 does not scare me. I think the Irish win this game like 34-17. Lay the points. Give me the Irish. November belongs to elite teams. I think Notre Dame is an elite team. Lay the points. We are together on this one. I did want to mention, by the way, you are now 44% against the spread on the season. I'm at 40% against the spread. You went 2-2 last week. I went 1-3. Maybe a good idea is to just fade my picks. Daniel has several weeks gotten one on me, and I think just fade
my picks. So I'm 0 for 1 now since we're together on this pick. I'm 0 for 1 is what you're telling me.
We went 1 for 1 on our first pick last week.
Okay. So maybe fade 3 and 4 from you.
Yeah, if Daniel and I pick different on this next one, go with Daniel's pick. All right.
Yeah.
Alabama laying 6 against Oklahoma. Oklahoma going to Tuscaloosa. Playoff hopes in their own hands. Bama can lose this game and still get in. Oklahoma is the more desperate team. Oklahoma won this game in dominant fashion last year, Daniel. They now go on the road. Alabama laying 6. Who do you like in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, this one opened at 7.5, and I was all over Oklahoma at that. I think that Oklahoma's defense has enough guys to make Alabama punt the ball occasionally and kind of keep this one where, Alabama has to keep giving the ball back. My concern for Oklahoma offensively is turnovers. I think if they can avoid turnovers, then they're in this game and can win it. I think if they turn the ball over, of course, this sounds cliche to just say this, but if they turn the ball over, Alabama's going to run them out of the stadium. That being said, running them out of the stadium would be cover, 10-point game, 14-point game, because I think this Oklahoma defense is good. I like Oklahoma to still keep this close. I see this one as like a 27-24, 27-23 kind of a game, like a 4-point victory, 3 or 4 point victory for Alabama. I definitely think Alabama is good at turning it on when it needs to be turned on and making the important plays at the right time. But I think Oklahoma is going to give them a good game. So it is taking points for Oklahoma on the road, but I think Alabama ultimately wins. But give me Oklahoma plus the 6.
All right, you heard me. Fade. Pick with Daniel because I'm taking Alabama here. The strength of Oklahoma, Daniel, is their rush defense. And here's where styles make fights. And this is going to be a stylistic fight because, Alabama has not been able to run the ball all year. And it has not mattered. So I think the strength of Oklahoma being a strong rush defense and saying, we're going to stop the run. Bama's like, oh, not stopping the run. That's really going to stop our off. They've been able to run the ball all year. So I think that's a wash as far as the best part about your team not mattering in this matchup because Alabama's been able to win a bunch of games against good teams regardless of not having a good run game. So Oklahoma's going to have to win another way. Is it their pass defense? Daniel, they are 22nd in total pass defense, 12th in yards per attempt. Alabama, they're 14th in total pass offense, 29th in yards per attempt. Kind of a wash. I give edge to Alabama there. Alabama can be run on. We've seen that this year. But Oklahoma, Daniel, they're 92nd in yards per carry, 94th in total pass defense. I don't think they're going to be able to run on Alabama. And I think that's how you win this game. So give me the Tide. I think Mateer has still not looked the same since the hand injury. Bama has a top 15 pass defense in the country. I just think it's a bad matchup for Oklahoma. Oklahoma profiles like Vanderbilt. I think this game looks similarly. I think Alabama wins this game 31-20. I think they get to double digits here. November belongs to elite teams. Lay the points with the Tide. And if you want to win this pick Oklahoma with Daniel. There you go. Just free advice on this podcast. Fade me. Say, all that logic sounds great. I'm taking Oklahoma. Whatever Daniel said. All right. Game 3, USC laying 6.5 against Iowa. Lincoln Riley in another Big Ten physical matchup. Iowa coming to town. Again, controls their own playoff hopes. 2 losses. You went out, and USC is quietly in. Daniel, who do you like in this game in the Coliseum?
Yeah, this one's similar. I think that USC at home, I think they're so prolific. And I think that you've seen them in their biggest games. If a team can bully them specifically defensively, where the other team's offense can bully them, I think that USC struggles with that. You look at the Notre Dame game, and then you look at, I guess their other loss was Illinois. USC could still move the ball. Iowa plays differently. Iowa is going to try to limit USC's production offensively. They're going to muck this game up. There's going to be a bunch of field goals, I bet. That being said, I'm still going to ride with USC. It's laying less than a touchdown. I think ultimately at home, they know that their playoff lives are on the line. They're going to march down the field, and they're just going to have more. I think that they're going to finish more drives than other teams have been able to against Iowa. And then on the inverse, I think USC could use a game like this where they play against Iowa's offense, where it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's just not this prolific offense that's going to give USC trouble. I think that's where USC, their kryptonite is, when they match a team that can get first downs regularly, stay on schedule, move down the field methodically, and get touchdowns. Do what you need to do, play good offensive football. That's not Iowa at all. So I think USC is going to win this game. I think they're going to cover. So lay the 6.5 USC.
I thought you were going to go the other way there. All right, here comes physical Iowa. Big Ten football. Can Lincoln Riley handle this? Well, I look at their schedule, Daniel, and I say, have they been in the spot where a physical Big Ten team with big offensive and defensive lines comes in, wants to run the ball into the Coliseum? We have seen this game this year. It was Michigan, and the spread was USC laying 3. Daniel, they won that game 31-13. They outgained Michigan 489-316. They outrushed Michigan 224 to run up to 109. And the yards per carry, they outrushed them 6.2 yards per carry to 3.5. I just think this game profiles very similarly, except Iowa's offense is not as good as Michigan's offense. USC has been sneaky good. As I said, went out and they're in. They control their own destiny. So I think you're going to get a really good effort for them. USC wins this game 30-14-ish. I think it's at least a 2-possession game. These points, man, as I've said, November belongs to elite teams. I think USC is more on the elite side than not at this point in the year. So lay the points. Last game, Daniel, 7:30 primetime ABC. The Georgia Bulldogs hosting the Texas Longhorns. The third time these teams will have played in 2 years. Georgia won the previous 2 matchups, one in Austin, one in Atlanta. We now get it in Athens. This is Texas's first trip to Athens. Very cool that we get that, especially with 2 big brands like Georgia and Texas. The Dogs laying 6. Who do you like in Athens?
Yeah, I'm looking at this one, man, and if this was in Austin, I would feel some kind of way about it. But I think Georgia, just the way that they've played. If I'd have told you before this season, Jacob, that like these 2 teams would play, and you're looking at Gunnar Stockton and Arch Manning, you would think, okay, Arch Manning has probably in the Heisman run. He's this, elite quarterback, whatever you want to think. What if I told you that, at the beginning of the year, these 2 would come and Gunnar would be, I guess, thought of as more of the, higher profile quarterback in this game. And Arch is just kind of along for the ride with this great Texas defense. It's just crazy to think. Anyways, I'm looking at this. Georgia's they've had a good run game, but I think they've taken it to the next level the past couple of weeks with Nate Frazier kind of reestablishing himself as the number 1 running back in this Georgia backfield. So they've got 2 good backs. Zachariah Branch has really stepped up from a receiver standpoint ever since Colby Young went down with his injury. He's the clear number 1 target. I think that this Georgia offense has a strong identity, and don't look now, but Georgia's defense, who has struggled and not been the typical Georgia defense, they're leading the SEC in defensive explosive play rate. Sorry, I was trying to do my best Jacob impression by having some stats ready. They're 13th in the country, but they're number 1 in the SEC. So I think that's extremely important in this kind of a game Don't give up the big play. Make Arch Manning beat you by taking them down the field and have to continue to be on target and get first downs. And he's just not been that accurate this year, Jacob. So I'm going to go with the Dogs. I think Georgia is the play here. I think they're going to win the game outright. But the 6 points is where I'm questioning, does Georgia cover? Georgia has been comfortable winning by 4, being behind in a game, coming back and winning. I think this is a game where you see Georgia peaking at the right time, and I think they win by 10. So give me the Dogs, lay the points.
Okay. Daniel, when I first looked at this game, I thought Georgia in a one-score game, take Georgia to win, take Texas to cover. I dug in and I feel differently. The Texas defense is still the best unit on the field. Georgia's offense is clicking. Georgia defense has been good when it needs to be. Texas's offense, are they starting to find it? Daniel, I think this game's going to be won in 2 areas. It's the line of scrimmage, surprise, which team can run the ball, and which team can tackle in space. Let's start with the first. Georgia's offense has started to find an explosive run game. And I think offensive line finally being healthy these last couple of games, you're starting to see some of these 7, 10, 15-yard runs get to 20 to 30 to a 75-yard run you had last week with Nate Frazier. But the Texas defense is good. This will be by far the best rush defense they've faced. It's a top 5 rush defense in the country. Can Texas find a run game? And I think this is where you start to see a matchup disadvantage. Opponent adjusted for Power 5. This is a Georgia defense that is 15th in the country in rush defense. Again, a defense that has not been impressive, but 15th in the country for rush defense. Texas, the 44th best rush offense. The total rush defense, Georgia's 12th. They're 16th in yards per carry allowed. 3rd in the country in explosive runs allowed. Texas in those categories, 98th, 90th, 100th. This is not a great Texas rushing offense. And against its Kirby Smart defense, although they have underperformed, if you're one-dimensional, they're going to find a way to beat you. The second way is who's going to tackle in space. These are the number 1 and number 2 offenses in the SEC at throws at or behind the line of scrimmage. So which teams can fly to the ball and tackle at both defensive back and linebacker? And the answer is very simple to me here, and it's Georgia. Georgia has some of the fastest linebackers in the country. If you're going to look at Georgia and say, we want your linebackers to go side to side and make tackles, Georgia's done that. And I think if you're Georgia, you say, okay, game, set, match. So I think Georgia wins here. I think they're the more physical team than Texas. They're at home where they're very hard to beat. And unless Texas is going to walk out in a crimson helmet, I like Georgia's chances to win at home and cover. I like the Dogs 27-17 in this game. I think it's like a 10-point game. I think Georgia wins and covers. Daniel, we did the same thing as last week. We picked the same 3 out of 4 games, different on the second one. So if you're at home, I think you should pick Notre Dame with us, pick Oklahoma with Daniel, and then pick Iowa and Texas. And you'll go 4-0.
Yeah, for sure. We both said Georgia by 10, so I don't know, man.
We'll see. Be sure to follow us at the Extra Point Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can follow Daniel on Twitter at NewSouthDaniel. You can follow me on Twitter at Jacob Karnes with a K. That'll do it for this edition of the Extra Point. He is Daniel. I am Jacob. See ya.